hedgerow, and that's why we can't have nice things. So, anyway,
evening all.
Evening all. Welcome to what I was going to say, last of the summer wine. Welcome to the last of the summer Interesting Modelling Co shows, because when we come to Wednesday, technically we'll be in the autumn. Thankfully,
couldn't be happier. Couldn't be happier.
Jolly good. Hopefully you're all hearing us tonight. We think we've finally got Drew's audio sorted. So, very good. Everyone's a normal.
Well, you just did it to me, so why can't I do it to them?
I did. So I'm sure if the audio is appalling, people let us know. But no, everybody seems happy with the audio. Nice mug, by the way.
Well, I saw a meme on Facebook the other night of so who was bigger in the 60s? Was it the Beatles or the Rolling Stones? And I said, well, the actual question is who was better, and the answer to that is the Who.
No.
Clearly,
I'm not going to argue with that. I got that in a shop in Broadmead. I seem to remember about 10 years ago.
Was it?
I saw that and I thought that's got you written all over it.
Well, it's got the Who written all over it.
It's got the Who written over it. Yeah, exactly. Just what the doctor ordered. So, welcome to, like I say, it's the last show of the summer, strictly speaking, because by Wednesday we will be into the calendar month of September, which I always count as being the first month of autumn.
Yeah, without a doubt. Yeah,
without a doubt. Also got a tax bill to pay on Tuesday.
A tax bill in September.
Yeah, it's been late this year, so I got to pay it the 31st of. Anyway, that's the video.
No, it's probably about 65 pence or something, isn't it?
Certainly, it's not. I can tell you that. This is something got a bit personal. Anyway, Lars Jensen says, "Good evening." He says, "Sound and picture fine. Excellent. So,
which is what we want to hear, really. Which is what we want to hear. Which is what we want to hear.
Thing is, we're not getting that awful kind of audio, kind of like out of sync thing as well. That kind of thing when we talk over each other. It sounds like you're in a bucket, but it sounds fine now.
Simple mic. Simple lapel mic.
Good evening, Mike Reeves. It's 112 degrees Fahrenheit here in Phoenix today.
Yeah. John and I both shuddered at the same time in horror at the prospect of. Bearing in mind, I think John and I are of the same. We both get uncomfortable when it climbs above about 60 degrees Fahrenheit, so about 20 degrees centigrade.
I still have memories of you suffering on the Porlock Marshes route march from the year before last. Anyway, right, we've got some things to get.
Should we talk about some models now and stuff?
Let's talk about some modelling. Yeah. Talking about just checks list, banter over, click.
Yeah.
Right. Well, should we play catch up on projects before we get into the news?
Well, speaking personally, it's been a very, very off week for projects. I don't know if anybody's been looking at my modelling page, Drew's modelling page, but I've been trying to bring some order to this modelling room. So it's been a few days of tearing stuff up and getting rid of lots of stuff, and my desk lamp then decided to undergo a total existence failure. So I've had to order a fresh one of them, and I had a display cabinet behind me, which was just a dusty old thing full of dusty old models. So I've binned that off completely, broken it all down, thrown all the models away. And I've ordered some racking, which means I can spread my paint collection out a little bit and have somewhere, hopefully, to put both of my 3D printers actually in this room, hopefully with the curing and washing station as well. So hopefully I can get everything sorted out this week and get back to it. That said, I am playing with another one of them. I said it last week on was it on here or was it on my modelling page? Anyway, I said I fancied having another go at the Zvezda Hercules to hopefully do the things right that I did wrong last time. And Mr. Hill said, well, I need a sponsored build. So Mr. Hill's very graciously sent me one in the week to build for presumably it'll go to Antics display cabinet when it's done. So yeah, I've been playing with that and also making a little bit of progress on the Beaufort, which is we're going to have to sort of up our game on this and get this done. I think.
I think I'm just gonna remove the bit that says focused.
Yes, everybody appears to have lost a bit of focus, but my main loss has been because of the room rejigging, shall we say? One thing I did do this week is I don't know if you know, I've complained before about the depth of detail on Zvezda kits. It's a little bit shallow and a little bit rounded. So if I just switch to the vertical view, the drop tanks, or not the drop tanks, the fuel tanks, I've got very, very light detail on them. And when you try and rescribe it, I mean, one sort of wander with the scriber and it all goes wrong. So I designed and printed some tanks with the pylons separate. And as you can see, the black line there is a join line where they join front to back. And all of the brown lines here are the actual detail, which is considerably heavier than it was in the kit. So it's just going to show up more and take a wash more easily. Total time to design that was about an hour. So the printing time was the large part of it, but it does mean that I've got tanks with decent details to take a wash now. So yeah, you know, playing with things. It probably took me less time to design that tank than to clean up and rescribe the kit one.
Well, isn't that the thing? Isn't that phrase I love to lob into discussions every now and then, carefully, is saying that problems with kits, it would have taken less time to have actually fixed it than it took you to mash away at the keyboard complaining, which is
exactly that. You know what? The longest part of that, the longest part of sorting that out was actually finding a good scale plan of the drop tank. That was honestly, that was the longest part. Now I can go through, you know, numerous. I can refine that as I can, you know, it takes about 6 or 7 hours to print that on my printer, but that is time when you're not doing anything anyway. So I don't actually count it as build time, if you know what I mean. Mm-hmm. Sorry, John, I just swapped back then. So yeah, about an hour to design that tank, put the detail, and then I can refine it as I want with you know, various iterations of it till I get it exactly how I want it. Mm-hmm. And it took less time to do that than to fight the kit tanks. So why not? But other than that, yeah, I've got some decals for this because I want to do a wraparound RAF camouflage one because I really like that scheme on Hercules. I think it's a very attractive scheme on a Hercules. So I've ordered the decals, but I'm going to probably mask and spray most of the markings, all the serials, the national markings and stuff. That can all be masked and sprayed, can't it? So, so that's, yeah, the Hercules there, that's for Mr. Hill. So Andy at Antics, much appreciated. Thank you very much. And obviously that'll be going your way when it's finished to do with what you will.
It seems you have some customers already. Lee Suter says, yes, I would buy those tanks off of you. Andy Brennan says, I would also buy some if you were so minded. Well,
as I always say with these sorts of things, chaps, we can talk, but at the moment, I need to refine it until I'm happy with the final. You know, that's a first iteration. The pylons have been done separately, and then when I'm happy, we can talk. But I need to make the detail a little bit finer yet. But
Mike Reeves says, what 3D CAD program do you use, Drew?
Fusion 360, Mike. Fusion 360, like everybody else. The problem, I like bid those two. David Mummery there. I like bid those two. Chaps, well, if I get it up and running, it's fine. We can talk. It's, you know,
get it up and running. What we'll do is we'll have a discussion and we'll actually brand it as an interesting modeling co accessory.
Yeah,
I'll send you some things, and
I think it's important to bear in mind that the kit tanks aren't inaccurate. I just don't like the fact that the detail is so fine on them. So I redesigned them myself with heavier detail, moved the join line so it's away from any of the detail, and it took me 20 minutes to glue that together and sand it and polish it up. So, but yeah, this is what 3D printing is invented for, isn't it? It's this sort of project. Yeah, Mike, Fusion 360. The problem with Rhino is it's so expensive to get set up, and when you're a hobbyist, it's
it's a bit overkill as well, really.
It's for somebody like me who uses it a couple of times a month for an hour or two each time. Spending £1,000 or a £600 a year subscription or whatever for this sort of thing just doesn't make any sense. I'd never make enough with it to make it worth my while. So I'm quite happy noodling away with Fusion 360, and getting these sorts of results. So that's my projects this week. Mainly the room has been getting a spruce up, and some new shelving and stuff is going in and stuff like that. And you?
Well, funny you mention rooms, because you just reminded me that I've got to finish the library off for the autumn, because I really want to be ensconced in there once we get into kind of end of October, early November. So I've got all the bookcases. I've got a nice light. I've even got a flame effect fire to go in the old fireplace up there. I've got matching chaise longue and curtains. All I've got to do now is actually strip the wallpaper off and paint it. However,
is this the upstairs library?
This is the upstairs library, which
otherwise known as my old bedroom.
No. This is the back. This is the back bedroom. This is the
that's what I mean. That used to be my bedroom, didn't it?
No, you've got the little front bedroom.
No, but I used to sleep in that room.
Oh, you did used to sleep in that. Well, it's the one with the panoramic vistas of the Somerset Valley here. So
my old bedroom.
I will be getting a sofa bed, so that will be the guest room as well. Whilst I then sort out the little front bedroom and everything that got moved out of that room. Anyway, talking of cabinets, actually, my next trip to IKEA, I am going to grab a couple of these, because I want to do away with what I've got in the hall here and actually have some stuff undercover. So I am eyeing up probably about 2 or 3 of these, I think.
They're nice little cabinets, aren't they?
They are nice little cabinets, yeah. So anyway, right, what have I been working on? I have finished a model, and that is, this is the old Esche Churchill, which has come back under the Italeri label. As ever, I could have built this in a much more linear fashion, but then I just got carried away wanting to try out ideas, some of which worked, some of which didn't work. But hey ho, this is all still a learning curve. There are some things I managed to do on this which I like, which I will carry over to other projects. There are some things which I won't do again. But got to be said, this is a darn sight easier to build than the old Airfix 76 scale one. I know this is 72nd scale, but as a kid, these would have just been small scale Churchills. That running gear goes together in minutes. There's a few fit problems with the turret. It's an old kit. You've got to cut it a bit of slack. But other than that, I painted that with AK. It's one of the British khaki greens from the Real Colours range. The one thing I would do if I use that paint again is I would lighten it considerably. And I know we've skirted the fringes of a discussion on scale colour, and those who are proponents of it and those who think it's utter nonsense. I do see the benefit in lightening colours for scale, because this colour is correct, but it's far too dense for 72nd scale.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sort of, I don't get too deeply involved in the scale colour argument, but because sometimes I'm happy with a paint straight from the pot. Other times I really want to lighten it just so it doesn't become a black hole. But I don't have a fixed, there's no fixed rules for me. Sometimes I'm happy with it. Sometimes I want it a bit lighter.
In this instance,
everybody's getting involved in your Detolf cabinets.
No, excellent. Well, there you go then.
Apparently everybody uses them.
There we go. Anyway, there you go. Look, that's I'm sitting here talking about my church. Everybody's talking about cabinets, right? That's it. I'm off for a sulk.
No, you're not.
Unbelievable. No, but that's it. It's done. This is done. So that will go in the box, which will eventually join all the other models here, which will be heading off towards Telford if it happens, and the hobby company. Here we go. Let's have a look. Andy says you get some additional shelving for the Detolf cases. It's well worth it. Brian Wilton says, JM, I have those cabinets. They're great. Also, you can get extra shelves for on eBay, which is fantastic. Steve Moores says eBay for locks for Detolf cabs. And David Mummery says, welcome to the Arthur Negus Memorial Show. Indeed. Trivia fact, actually, is when I did 2 weeks work experience at the BBC graphics department in Bristol when I was at art college, I actually worked on the Antiques Roadshow, the graphics for that.
There you go.
Anyway, so yeah, that's it. That's that one done. Boom, boom, boom. Another one bites the dust. So we can move that one on now. So I'm going to try and get on with finish the figures off for the Kettenkrad. I know I've got to start painting the Panzer 4G in the desert colors, but the mistake, I think I mentioned this the other week, the mistake I've made recently was I thought I could manage several projects at a time. I thought I could handle it. I can't.
Thought you could handle it, but I can't. You can't handle it, son.
I can't handle it. I am much happier when I'm building something in complete focus, would you believe? So yeah, I'm gonna get the Kettenkrad figures finished off. Then I'm going to go back and finish off that Rubicon LRDG wagon and the IBG Cruiser and the Zvezda Hurricane. Then that's it. Then I can get on and
pick one of those projects up and finish it. Then pick the next one up and finish it. And then pick the next one up and finish it.
Then I can get on with the paint the Tamiya Panzer 4. By which time Spencer would have finished his, so I'll steal all his ideas. And then I can get on with the Italeri Panzer 4H. And I can build my Airfix beach buggy because I've seen Jen has been building her beach buggy and it looks awesome sauce. So I want to build mine.
Excellent. So you have got a plan then. There is a plan.
Ish. Yeah.
Ish. Yeah.
But I got to get on with that library at some stage. I think I'll wait until the proms are finished. Then it's going to be get the old stripper out.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, I've been sort of redigging this room and preparing for some new deliveries of shelving and stuff, and the amount of stuff that actually ended up in this room, which is only about like 8 feet square. It's just a phenomenal amount of crap that can just mostly be, the amount of stuff I've thrown in the bin. I could have done without the light actually failing on me, but the good bit is I've managed to rejig the light, the pantographing light thingy adjuster into a camera position that the the camera's mounted to now. So when the light fell off, I kind of tore everything off to do with the light itself, and that's now got the 4K vertical camera mounted on it. So
Steve Moore says further proving men don't multitask. Steve, I have trouble unitasking. And Anthony Bird says, Joe, what about your Whirlwind? Don't forget that. Yeah, well, the Whirlwind is kind of like it's a me project, and they tend to get shoved out the way for, kind of like other things for other people. Incidentally, before we go on with the news, news is on that Churchill. I did paint that with one of my Fender airbrushes. So, we're always trying to very keen to kind of push the budget angle on this channel, on this show. But also all the what hand painting there was on this and some of the washes and the weathering were all done with two of the brushes from these. I think I used the 00 and that O. This was the set of paintbrushes that I got off of Amazon for, I think they're £10-12 or something daft like that. These are astonishingly good quality paintbrushes. So, we're very, and that's an astonishingly nice West Somerset Railway paper cup that I keep them in. We are always very conscious of, kind of like, I think somebody said the other week that, you get free stuff. Yeah, we do get free stuff, but we do go out and buy things. And I think after we had that discussion on Wednesday about the cost of the hobby, I'm always very, very conscious of making sure that we can keep aspects of it within the affordable bracket, that we're not kind of, let's put it this way. I have here, that's a Dale Rowney 00 sable brush here, Ping. that pretty much cost the same as what that bunch of paintbrushes I just showed you there.
And they'll last just fine with a bit of care.
Will last fine with a bit of care. But as I say, I'm always conscious of the fact that people are on budget. So if we can kind of like try things out and we're successful with them, then it's an alternative. It gives people more choice.
Yeah.
Shall we get on with the news?
The news.
What's first on the news?
Well, looking at the today's schedule, the first thing is from our favourite helicopter manufacturer, Dream Model, isn't it?
Bing.
And they've announced a 1/72nd scale UH-1Y Venom, isn't it? Hardly not. It's hardly a surprise that they've announced this. They did the AH-1Z Viper a few months ago. So this is a kind of logical extension. Take away the cab, and it's basically the same helicopter, effectively. Everything from the engine and doghouse upwards, and from the tail boom backwards is identical on both aircraft. So not a surprise, but good to see nevertheless. And it'll make a nice complement to the. Absolutely, I have to say, I do have I have the Viper kit, and it is absolutely beautiful. Dream Model are doing some really, really good stuff. I do think it's quite pricey relative to the size of the model, but that's one of those. That's up to the modeler to justify whether they want to pay that much for a kit or not. I'll certainly be buying one of these to go with the Viper.
I love that scheme.
Well, I'm kind of hoping that because the Czech Air Force has ordered both the Viper and the Venom, and they are actually in production now, and I'm hoping they're going to be delivered in that really very, very attractive Czech 2 greys and the green scheme, and that would make a really, really lovely pair of helicopters, I think. But yeah, Dream Model. I've got a few Dream Model kits now. I think they're the people who've announced an S61N as well, which is really, really good news. But yeah, Dream Model, very, very well worth keeping an eye on them. I wouldn't buy 2 or 3 of these to put on the stash.
No.
At that price, but certainly for a kit that I want to build, I would go on.
They also I think we spoke about this a few months ago. They're doing that Chinese stealth fighter as well, aren't they?
Yes.
Yes.
They're sort of like the upper end of the Chinese manufacturers, both in quality and execution. But that again is reflected in price, which you make your own mind upon. I will be getting this. I will be. And incidentally, it's worth saying after last week's conversation, not only will I be getting this, but having no inroads with anybody for this model, I will be paying for it.
One thing to point out with this, just in case people are wondering, these are rigid composite blades as well, aren't they?
Yeah, so, it's very, very rigid blades on this helicopter. I think I'm right in saying it's basically a rigid rotor.
Yeah.
Which
so they ain't going to droop.
They ain't going to droop, and they are going to stay pretty much how you see them there. There's a couple of inches of droop on the real thing, but it's certainly nothing like you'd have seen on more traditional blades. So yeah, I think this is a great release. You find the detail on these, having looked at the Viper. It's kind of can be a bit overpronounced in some places, but it's really, really sharp. So you can knock it back with a little bit of sanding, and it retains the sharpness. You're just making it a little bit shallower,
or not put a wash in it to overemphasize it. I've got one of the F5Es. It's very nice. I'm just trying to work out what scheme to do eventually.
I never did get the F5E. I found it was again, it came down to price when we thought the Wolfpack one was happening, and it's all gone quiet on the Wolfpack front recently. So we don't know what's happening. I'm presuming it's still going to happen, but Wolfpack were
Mhm.
saying it was going to be significantly cheaper than the Dream Model one. So we'll wait and see. But yeah, I've certainly got no doubts that that will be a great little model. That'll be a super little model and well worth the money for those who want that subject. Recommended.
Wow. Absolutely. Moving on. Now, this is a puzzler. This because this is from a that's mini art. Now, I googled these. This was apparently announced in 2017, but unless I have got my wires horribly crossed, and bear in mind I am from Dudley, I don't think these were ever released, or if they did, they weren't. I don't know. I read some comments from some military modelers who were saying, "Oh, they're finally being released now." So I don't know what the story is behind whether these ever saw the light of day. All I know is that they are yet another fantastically imaginative mini art release, and also for kind of like really naff figure modelers like me. There's a surprising lack of detail to paint on these because they are essentially great big ponchos.
I really like the way they've been painted.
Yes, do you know
I
what?
do, because it's like, although you say it's ponchos and it's not very complicated, to get that effect, it's overstated, but in a really nice way.
This is one of the things that I am going to do on the next set of figures, or when the next time I do a standalone figure. I really want to experiment doing these kind of highlights and shadows, push them more than I usually do, and then see about doing the transitions. I'm still trying to get my eye in with this acrylic painting malarkey, but the beauty about these is that they also offer the chance to actually do kind of like wet effects on figures for a change.
Yes, yeah.
So I'm thinking there's these lend themselves to some really kind of glossy dioramas.
I just really like the way they've been painted. I really like, because it's sort of very stylized in some ways, but it's really effective for showing what is largely a shapeless smock, isn't it?
Yeah.
So the ability to add interest to what is largely a shapeless smock is to be commended.
Yeah. I've got that 1602, whatever it's called, that company. I always get their name wrong, but it was that flat gun I built over Christmas. And I still would like to place it within a vignette of sorts. And your chap on the end there next to our logo, he's perfect. He would be the perfect guy just to be stuck on some kind of terrible guard duty. Guard this thing, soldier. And he's just looking at it thinking, why am I guarding this hunk of metal? But yeah, fantastic as ever. But whether these actually ever got released or not, I couldn't get to the bottom of this. So I'm fully happy to stand corrected on this. But as ever with mini art, just fabulous, absolutely fabulous.
I like the kind of casual stroll of the guy with the Thompson.
Yeah,
that's really nice. That's a really nice casual stroll. Really nicely done.
So I think depending on who gets them in first, either Froome or Mr. Hills, bingo, take my money.
Take my money, indeed.
Start to stir up competition amongst our suppliers now.
And I got this money. Who wants it? Who wants my money?
I say Jadlan were probably watching now, thinking, "Hang about." And it's like, okay. So
we are an adherent of many churches.
Yes, exactly. All local as well, all in our little county. Marvelous.
Yeah.
Right. Next.
Yeah. Next. Well, next is as we always cover mini art, it seems that we're also always covering ICM, aren't we, these days? And that's because ICM are doing a lot of really good stuff. And shortly to be released is the Counter Invader.
Bingo.
Obviously based on the Invader kit that's been around for a couple of years now. I have several of these kits, although I haven't yet built one. I know that our own Mr. Ivan Jensen Taylor's built one of them and done a beautiful job on it. And so, yeah, this is the Vietnam variant of the Invader, because they were brought back into service with Vietnam as a counterinsurgency aircraft. I think it was a company called On the Mark or On Mark. were responsible for the conversions. They had slightly different engines in them with different cowlings, tip tanks, a bigger rudder. And in fact, everything. I don't know why I'm going from memory here. I can just look at this picture, can't I? And read it off there. They've covered everything there, and used very effectively for a few years in Vietnam. And obviously, any aircraft in 3-tone Southeast Asia scheme is automatically a winner.
I think the thing that always struck me about these is that it was a World War II aeroplane fighting in a modern conflict.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's one of those aircraft. I think I'm right in saying about 2,000 of them were made. So it wasn't, you know, a massive production run for a World War II aircraft. Especially bearing in mind that it came into service towards the end of the war, so 1944. It entered service in Europe and then went to the Pacific. But yeah, it saw a lot of service in Korea, a lot of service in Indochina with the French. So there's some other options for the earlier toolings to do them, and then this final hurrah. And I think some of these on-mark conversions also saw service in South America, possibly Cuba, as well. So in spite of, I don't know what the markings options will be in the kit, but it was a highly successful final hurrah for the aircraft. And it is, let's be honest, it's a beautiful airplane, isn't it?
Yep.
It's an absolutely beautiful airplane. It's Douglas, it would be. But yeah, great, absolutely fantastic model. Like I said, I've got 2 of them. I will shortly have at least 3 of them. I do want to get one of the glass nose ones at some point. But yeah, I think that's due out in September, isn't it? So I suspect that'll be in the UK. The price for these so far has been around the £45 mark, which I would say is superb value for money for what you're getting in a box.
I remember, wibbly wobbly effect now, I remember Christmas 1992. I was in Bath and I went into remember the Bath Model Centre?
I do indeed.
And the monogram kit had just come in, and it was, I think it was £19.99. So that's nearly 30 years ago. I was just going to say it's about 20 years ago. That's nearly 30 years ago.
I thought the monogram kit was later than that. I thought it was about 95.
No, 92.
Weird.
Christmas 1992, honestly. Might be Christmas 92 or 93. No, it was 92. 93. It's a different film, Ted. It's a different show. It's 93, Christmas 93. I stand corrected, but I do remember it was £19. My dad said, get it for Christmas. I'll buy it for you for Christmas. I'm like, brilliant. So, yeah.
Yeah, I built that model as well. I got that model new and built it.
I never got around to building it because shortly after that was announced, it was announced that Dragon were going to do a family of 48 scale Invaders, including
whatever happened to them?
Including the B-26K with artwork by Shigeo Koike. But that never happened. But I did, around about 1994, I did build the Airfix kit when that was reissued. It was one of the first things I actually built for Mr. Farmer. And I built that straight from the box as one of the black scheme in the kit. And I remember that being a really smart, nice model. And I think that came out, and then probably about 5 or 6 years, what are we talking about, 1999, then the Italeri one came out.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those, the Airfix kit is one of those ones that almost flies under the radar. But I always remember the box art is another one of those fabulous pieces of box art for the Airfix Invader, the original box art. It's been a kit that hasn't been a model, an aircraft that hasn't been massively well served in the past. I don't think. But you know, stuff is starting to happen now. Italeri's first release was a B-26K. I bought 2 of them, built one and threw the other away. The less said about it, the better, really. This was at a real low point in Italeri as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, hopefully, I mean, I know we shouldn't get involved in scale discussions, but given ICM's history, hopefully they'll scale these down to 72nd at some point as well, as they are wont to do quite frequently. which will be really nice. But yeah, I mean, I honestly, based on the ones I've seen built and my own experience with ICM, buy with confidence, and buy mainly just buy. If it's in your wheelhouse of subjects, you're going to have a pretty pain-free build with that. So,
All right, hold on to your horses. I just managed to do. I like doing this live. Bow.
oh, it's glorious, isn't it?
That's just a magnificent piece of box art.
Fantastic piece of box art.
Mm.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, I'd love that frame.
That to me is up there with my favourite, which is the B26, the Marauder. I think that's his best piece of box art. That is fabulous. Yeah.
Well, it's pure action, isn't it? Pure action, really shows off the aircraft.
Yep.
Perfect angles.
Yep.
I love the reflection of that tailplane on the vertical fin as well.
Yep.
Beautifully done.
Ah, dearie me.
Yes, Mike, we do. You're absolutely right, Mr.
Right,
Reeves.
hang about. Let me just see what Mike said. Mike says, we need a new proper 148 B26 model. We do, because we've got the Ye Olde monogram kit. We also have Ye Olde AMT kit. The AMT kit, would you believe, actually has slightly more and better interior detail than the monogram kit. But the AMT kit goes really weird around the engines.
Yes, I've got a funny feeling that ICM will oblige in the next year or two. I really do think they will.
I can feel it in my water.
Yeah, absolutely. And I will be, speaking for myself, a very happy camper if they do.
Excellent.
Both the B26, the A26, and then the B26 are all beautiful, beautiful designs.
Yeah.
Really fast, medium bomber types, really, really great looking designs. So yeah, I'm surprised there was never a solid nose Marauder, really. The gun nose Marauder, that would have been quite nice, but I think that was always used as a medium bomber, wasn't it? So yes, yeah, I think they'll do that next year. I'm fairly well, maybe not next year, but certainly in the next year or two, we will have a 48 scale Marauder from someone.
You heard it here first, folks.
And my money's on ICM.
Yeah, we've predicted
that. Mainly because I badger them about it quite frequently whenever they have their "what kits would you like," and obviously they're going to listen to me. So
let's move on.
Because I'm very, very important.
You're very precious. This is a new release from IPMS Canada. It's their Royal Canadian Navy Aircraft Finish and Markings series. Now I've got the book. I've got the Canadian Military Aircraft one by Patrick Martin, but I haven't got the one on the Canadian Navy. They're not cheap, but boy, they are worth their weight in gold. This one, as you can see there, it covers everything from the post-World War II period right up to most of the modern-day aircraft, and it comes in a variety of versions, including black and white and full color. As I say, these aren't cheap, but if we switch over to my workbench camera, oops, Daisy, let's try and get hitting the right button. There we go. This is the one I've got, which I bought at, would you believe, the Avon show a few years ago. I got this for the bargain price of £22. Now, it's a good old thick volume, but for somebody like me who likes a lot of highly technical information,
you're right. You're all right there, aren't you? There's lots of technical information there.
Shall we say that when you've got a book like this, which gives you dimensions, it gives you colors, it gives you sizes, it goes into, essentially these are like paint shop drawings for Canadian aircraft. Yeah,
here's a page with all 157 variations of the maple we've used.
Yeah, exactly. There's also a few pages
upside down there, isn't there?
Yeah, a few pages upside down, but that's the perils of kind of like home,
ring binding. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, look at this. This is all about
that's really nice, isn't it?
It's but fantastic. 4-inch serial. 29-inch flag, 16-inch round. This, for somebody like me, this is just absolutely fabulous stuff. Because, oh look, a camouflage, green and brown, variegated and wraparound Cessna bird dog in Canadian markings. But no, when you're doing decal design work, something like this it's just fabulous. So I will be investing in the Royal Canadian Navy one, the Canadian Navy one at some stage, because it's going to be worth it. Long story short, but there we go. So if you go over to the IPMS Canada page, we put a link up on our page, and you can have a look and see what they're doing. But no, like I say, Patrick Martin, he knows his stuff, and he's helped me out on projects in the past, as has Mike Belcher. Yeah, you can't go wrong with this. So a big thumbs up to our Canadian friends for this, because this is just absolute first rate, top dollar, top Canadian dollar reference material. Fabulous stuff.
I really like that kind of that kind of ring bound with the clear plastic cover. I remember I got the there's a book on the Mirage 3.0, the Aussie Mirage by, I think it was Graham Slingsby and another guy, and it came just done like that, but full of information exactly like that. And about 7 or 8 years later, they actually released a full hardback, massively expanded version, which obviously, being a Mirage book, I promptly bought. But I kind of still have a soft spot for the original because it's got that real enthusiast feel about it. You know what I mean?
This to me is this is kind of like NASA mission manual.
Yeah, it feels it feels really like proper enthusiast stuff, doesn't it? That is going to be well researched. So I mean, the massively expanded later book is far better in most respects, but I kind of got a real soft spot for the original one. So really like that. Is my screen flickering?
Just about. I think your Barry-let CSO is having trouble dealing with the processing tonight.
Yeah, strange. I'll check all the connections later. I'll check all.
Most important is we did sort out the audio tonight, so that was good.
And it's still going fine. Nobody's complained about it, so
nobody's complained about the audio. So
I'm presuming it's all okay.
Yeah, jolly good. Right, shall we? We've done the icebreaker jokes. Let's just jump straight onto the next one, because this is what we will be calling Drew's first ship.
Yes, yeah. I this is due out in October.
We've covered this on the show before, but Zvezda have released images now because it's
we are sort of galloping towards release now, aren't we? Oh, that looks nice, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, that does looks. It's a big old beast, and it's something about 33,000 tons. Biggest icebreaker ever made.
Mm-hmm.
It's multicolours, isn't it? It's they're moulding it in various sort of different colours, but it's a great looking ship, isn't it? It's a great looking ship. I'm much more drawn to civil ships than I am military ships for some odd reason. And this. I would rather it had been the original Russian black and orange color scheme, but I'm looking forward to this. I really am. I'm hoping I can do it justice. But it's one of those ones that I want to get started on, as soon as it turns up.
Looking at the photographs here of the Zvezda kind of mock-up model, I get the feeling that there's going to be a lot of sub-assembly painting that then all gets kind of brought together.
Yes.
For the finale. I mean, I'm just looking at some of these deck fittings, and you've got all those things that are. I'm assuming they are all separate, because you could glue them all together and then paint them by hand, but I think if they're all separate, they're going to be easier to kind of.
Well, given the way that Zvezda kits generally fit, it won't be an issue either.
No.
That's the thing. Zvezda kits are very, very well tooled these days, so they fit really, really nicely. I'm looking forward to this. I really am. It's the more I see, the more I want to the more I want to get cracking. You know, these icebreakers, honestly, people, go and look on YouTube, the Russian icebreakers. There's some fabulous videos. There's some fabulous videos of Russian icebreakers in action. In fact, you can go on holiday on them as well. They do rent out rooms on these for journeys over the northern ice pack. It's not cheap, but that's a holiday of a lifetime. I'd really like to do that. And I think they generally, I don't know, the original ones had 2 nuclear reactors. I'm not sure if this has got 1 or 2. I'd have to Wikipedia that, but I think this is another one with two nuclear reactors powering it. Yeah, excellent. I can't wait. I really can't. What a beautiful ship that is.
525 parts, and we've only shown you these are literally these are a fraction of the sprues. The hull is in 2 great big halves, and the upper superstructure is molded in color. So definitely a Matchbox vibe going on. And then we've got some other bits of the bridge and upper superstructure, and then they've released a picture of a sprue of some of the details away. But there are going to be lots and lots and lots of sprues for this kit. I'm actually slightly envious that you'll get to build one, but then again, on a decals as well. You get a nice decal sheet. Slightly envious, but then again,
well, it came about because I happened to say one time I liked the icebreakers, and we were talking about it somewhere else, and then this got announced, and it was like, I know somebody who would want to build that. And
not only that, but you've apparently never built a ship model in your life.
No, I haven't.
No, there we go then. I mean, I've got Spencer and I at some stage. We have been reminded this week that we've got that Rodney and Nelson thing to do as and when our schedule's clear. Which I'm looking forward to doing because I've never built a Tamiya ship before. I've built some ships, but I've never built a Tamiya ship. Built the Hella Queen Mary about 17 years ago.
When you built the 7 class,
I built, remember that? Yeah, the 7 class life boat as well. Yeah, remember. Did I build 2 of them or 1 of them? I can't remember.
I can't remember now. As Ian Rusco says there's probably going to be a shed load of etch for that icebreaker, and I won't be using any of it because it has to be built from the box, which is,
that was a comment that I did read today. Somebody said, "Oh, it's a pity Zvezda aren't including photo etch in the kit." Well, no, because I think they're doing this. They're keeping it as affordable and as accessible.
Have you seen the price of those photo etch kits they do for ships? They're like £120. Some of them,
exactly.
If Zvezda had included that, it would have been, you're looking at tripling the price of the kit. It can't happen. Zvezda want to sell, 30,000 of these.
Whoever does the accessory set, Zvezda are still going to sell the plastic end of things. So they'll still get a sale.
Yeah.
They'll still get a sale.
So because you're not going to buy the accessory set and not buy the ship, are you? So, Zvezda win-win, and the modeler is a win-win for the modeler because the modeler will get a nice value for money model, and they can then buy the photo etch if they want to.
Yep.
So nobody's losing out there, are they?
No.
So yeah, I'm really I'm strangely excited by the prospect of building my first ship, and it being a big Russian icebreaker, and obviously not having to find somewhere to keep it afterwards.
That's the bit. Oh, hang about. I've gone. Sorry. I seem to have.
You've gone all echoey.
Yeah.
You're echoing now.
Yeah, weird. Something's gone wrong here. I'll be back.
So, can people still hear me? Oh. What I'm sorry, people. I don't know what he's doing, but anyway, if we just to fill in a little bit of time, Mike. Yes, it is 1/350th scale, so it's a fair old chunk of plastic. So the only other thing that I've received this week is.
There we go. I'm back.
Oh, there you go. You're back. So I got this in the post this week again from Mr. Hills. Should anyone have any questions? Yes, I bought them. I say them because I buy models Vit Mirages in two offs. So this is the update of the Mirage 3C that was released about 5 months ago. So this is a Shahak, as it's called, which is a specific Israeli Mirage 3C. And with this kit, we've got, so the main thing we've got is a pair of new fuselage halves for this model, because the Israelis later in the Mirage 3C's life, they re-engined the 3Cs with the Atar 9C engine, which was shorter than the 9B of the original. Can you never really keep up with the B's and C's? So the original Mirage 3C had an Atar 9B engine, which is longer than this, with an eyelid type nozzle. And then they re-engined them with the Atar 9C, which required cutting back the fairing at the tail, which gives it a strange shape to the fairing above the tail and stuff. So there's a new pair of fuselage halves in this model. And I think that's largely essentially the difference, the main difference between this kit and the original 3C. It does include Shafir 2 missiles with it. A really nice decal sheet there.
That is a nice decal sheet.
It's and the thing is, of recent, using models of it decal sheets, they actually perform really, really nicely as well. So typical set of models of it instructions these days, which are very nicely laid out and done. So going through all the different tank and weapon variations there. You get AIM-9D sidewinders and Shafir 2 missiles, and a 530 for the centre line, as well as a tank if you want. And then you get into the colour schemes, where you've got a very late 3CJ, a Shahak as it is, in the Encompass Greys there. A mid-70s one, but without the ID triangles in the original sort of three-tone scheme. And then there's one there, which one of the ones I'll be doing is certainly in that scheme, with the orange and black, or yellow and black ID triangles there. Then we've got one Argentinian 3CJ, which is the one that's on display in Israel now. So it's not actually an in-service scheme. This is a repaint with, I think that's 13 kills. And then finally, one of the ones when it was actually exported to Argentina in the two-tone brown scheme, which is certainly the primary reason I've got these kits, is that I really, really want to do that Argentinian one. These were received after the Falklands War, so they never took part in the Falklands War. They were kind of replacements, if you like, for the ones that were lost during the Falklands War. So yeah, I mean, oh, and obviously master models, Pitos. Whenever I buy models of Mirages, I just go online and order a Pito for every one I get, because it just makes sense to me.
Now, question I've got for you is: I know you don't like keeping a spares box these days, but do you hang on to any of the stuff, any of the leftover stores from these models of Mirages, just in case you can use them on other ones?
No, because they all come with the same stores.
Oh, right, fair enough.
So yeah, it all just gets binned. The Jen Wright says, I know Jen got this week, so there's a comment from Jen there, that she got one. In fact, I didn't realize the kit had been released. I knew it was due for release, but until Jen said she'd got one, I didn't realize it had been released. So I went straight off to Mr. Hills and asked him to get me a pair as soon as possible. and these turned up this week. And again, people, all bought and paid for, or it will be when I pay him. So yes, that's pretty much the only new plastic I've received in the post this week. That and the Hercules, my second Hercules that I'm playing around with at the moment. That was actually just intended to fill in that time while John was sorting out his.
I sorted it out. It was easy. It was a. Simple...
I just thought I'd get in and start talking about something that I had up the side here, just to. Hello, there you go.
That's fine. That's fine.
Just while you were sorting that out, and then we got. Jen, that feels like a win. I beat Drew to a Mirage. Yes, thanks, Jen. Well, more importantly, you reminded me it had been released, so I was able to go straight off to Andy and get a pair. And next month the 3.0 is being released, so the Aussie version of the 3E. So Andy, if you're watching, yes, please, 2 of them.
Now, seeing as we've naturally kind of like meandered tonight, and we've been talking about Israeli Mirages, and we're talking about Roy Cross. You know what's coming next, don't you?
Go on. Oh.
That's a classic.
Now, interesting, you see, because that's a 6-day war. That's an original 3C with the Atar 9B engine. Mm-hmm. So you would have to use the other boxing of this kit, of the Mirage 3C that they've released, to do that aircraft.
All I can say is, with the benefit of maturity, relatively speaking, I know that certainly the old MiG kit isn't very good, and the Mirage is, it's an old kit. As a kid, had I received that or been able to have bought that, I would have been so excited my head would have exploded. That's
a dogfight double boxing, isn't it?
It is the dogfight double boxing.
Yeah, what a great piece of box art. What a great.
Yeah. Marvelous. Let's just quickly dash along with. I decided not to try and break this all up tonight, because this is essentially a scroll through what Dora Wings are up to. Dora Wings are up to an incredible amount of things that I'm just going to whiz through. In fact, if you head over to Jen's page, we'll put the link up on the page tonight. Jen could post the link herself, for goodness sake. Jen has been doing the little air Jeep, which does look fabulous. But let's just scroll through what Dora Wings have been up to, what Dora the Explorer has been up to. And we've got here, they've got the Savoia Machete S55A. They've got the markings options are up for that. And that all looks tremendously exciting.
Ugly?
Sorry?
Tremendously ugly.
Tremendously ugly, but what a fabulous! It looks like a Studio Ghibli kind of construct.
Yes. Yeah.
They've got a 48 scale Moran Saulnier MS 405/406, which is jolly good, because obviously Tamir did a Dewa team 20 odd years ago now.
So do we know that's 48 scale?
It is. It says 48 scale there.
Oh yeah, sorry, I missed that. I was distracted by seeing Lynn Ritger's name at the bottom in the love thing.
Hobbycraft did one. I think I've got the Hobbycraft kit, but it's from that period when Hobbycraft kind of they did some nice things, and then they just did some stinkers. And I'm afraid this was kind of like from their slightly stinky period. But good to have that coming from Dora Wings. Then we scroll down, and then we have, there it is, the Air Jeep, which is fabulous. Then we scroll down. Yes. P43 Lancer, fabulous. Scroll down. Then we, and the Volti.
Volti Vengeance.
Yep, lovely. That looks fabulous. And that's a big old aeroplane, because I got the Frog kit. And I can tell you that's a big aeroplane.
Ugly aeroplane, but actually used quite a lot of success in the Far East, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It almost passes us by, doesn't it? But it was used with quite a lot of success in the Far East.
Yeah, and there's the decal sheet that's the 48 scale version, because they're doing this in 72nd and 48 scale. And scroll down. There are all the color schemes for the Australian ones, and just looks fabulous. What a weird looking aeroplane. But
yeah, that wing is definitely
definitely it almost looks like when you look at it in plan view, it almost looks like it's kind of like an aeroplane with a canard with a pushing propeller. You with me?
Yeah.
It looks back to front. Anyway, that essentially, go to the Dora Wings Facebook page. They are banging them out at the moment. I'm very curious to see what that little air jeep's like, because it does look like a fabulous little kit.
It's such a pretty little aeroplane, isn't it? It's a really pretty little.
As Jen said on the video, she's got the 48 scale kit, and it's for a twin engine aeroplane. It's smaller than Spitfire, relatively speaking.
Yes. Yeah. Little navigation trainer, wasn't it, or something?
Yeah, it was inherently unstable deliberately, which is why not many survived post-war, because they weren't going to hand them over to.
Yes.
Yeah, there you go. Fly away. So yeah. So Dora Wings, yeah, they are really. Oh dearie me. They really are banging them out these days. So it's fabulous stuff. And like I say, we'll if Jen isn't quick enough to do the self publicity, then we'll put the link up ourselves. Right, let's say a big hello to everybody who's joined us tonight. First in the queue was Dave Fleming. Hello, Dave. Hello to Jason David Bettis. I need to call him David Jason. David Bettis. Hello, Jason. We got Dave Coward. We've got Dave Mummery, Wayne A. Beatty, Darren McGuinness, Ian Goldstraw, Damien Mullen, Mark Ryan, Brian Wilton, Andy Brennan, Stephen Pryor, Douglas Hunter, Steve Moores, Lee Suter, Anthony Bird, Paul Milligan, Mike Reeves, Johan Olivier, Lars Jensen, Mark Smith, Greg Woodbridge, Dougal McWoogle, Julian Dallamore, Roger Watson, Stan Kirk. Oh, blimey. Message me, Sam. Is that Kirk's?
Yeah, I think it's Kurtz, isn't it?
I think it's Kirk. Pavel Krupovich, that one's easy. Paul G, GF185. Hello, Paul GF185. Kat Ludwell, apparently just lives over the hill from me. Matthew Walker, scrolls down. Jen Wright, scrolls down. Ian Rusco, scrolls down. There's plenty more, but John Walker, hello, John, how are you? But yes, thank you to everybody who's come along tonight. We do appreciate you, giving up of your Sunday to watch us waffle away here.
Yeah, Wittertainment. It's our own Wittertainment, isn't it?
No. I think that's it for the news stuff tonight. Unless anybody's got any questions, I think we are on to the dreaded. Any other business?
Not from me. No, not available Wednesday because I'm on late shift. So.
Right, I am. Oops, Daisy, got a moth in here. Wednesday. No, I might be going out to Exmouth on Thursday. But all right, we'll find somebody to fill in on Wednesday. Lars says. He says, I started my modelling with the old Airfix Mirage 3 in 1970 and now building models of it. What an evolution in kit technology. Indeed, I built the Airfix kit and the Matchbox kit back in the 70s. I've got a soft spot for that the Airfix one, because I like the Roy Cross artwork of the French one.
Yeah.
They rockets. It's Brian Wilton says, what is the news on Scale Model World? We haven't heard anything yet. Not a sausage.
It's still all up in the air, isn't it? We still don't know.
Yeah. There we go. Jen's posted the link to her. There we go. So we will post the link to the page. Hello, Craig as well. Craig Sargent's joined us. No, I think that's about it. I think we've relatively managed to wrap up reasonably on time tonight.
Well, that actually ran pretty much on rails tonight, didn't it? There wasn't too much.
Any other business is check that out. Look at that. I've been a busy beaver today.
What is it? Oh, crumble.
Apple crumble.
Nice.
Apple crumble. That's all accounted for.
All right. Okay.
Sorry. Don't worry. As and when I do bump into you, I'll put one in the freezer for you. But that's apple crumble from the orchard in the garden, and yeah, it's pretty good stuff. He says.
Modestly.
He says modestly, "Hey," and I might be making some apple cider cake this week, and I might be making apple dappies. You know what apple dappies are?
Apple
Apple
dappy.
dappies. Essentially, it's like a thing of you get apples and then you chop them up finely, then you put them in like a sweet pastry. You roll it up like a Swiss roll.
All right.
Chop it into sections, put it in a buttered dish. Then into that you pour a mixture of golden syrup and water, and then you stick it in the oven. And as the water kind of boils, it gets absorbed into it, and it comes out as just this utter sticky mess that, frankly, I think I've just put on half a stone describing it to
Thinking
you.
about it, yeah. Well, you did say syrup, didn't you?
It's it's old Somerset recipe, this, but lovely. So yeah, we're definitely into the autumn now, because them apples are coming down thick and fast now. So
excellent. More crumble.
Yep. Absolutely. So on that note, it's just to say thank you for joining us. We'll be back. Well, I'll be back on Wednesday in a completely different season, because we will be into the autumn.
Yes, and then I'll be back next Sunday when we will be well into autumn by that point, as far as I'm concerned.
Absolutely.
I might even be able to turn the fan off.
Yep.
Might be cool enough to do that.
Yeah. Well, we're just ending just in time, because your picture is breaking up and you're freezing. So on that note,
Oh, I am.
You are, yes. Stacey, audio's fine. So on that note, just remains to say thank you to Drew for coming tonight. Thank you to everybody who's watched. We'll be back on, fingers crossed, on Wednesday. Until then, stay safe, stay out of trouble, and we'll see you soon. So bye for now.